Good evening, my non-existent viewers. This is day 14 of the 31 Days of Horror Challenge. I rewatched The Shining tonight for the first time in quite a few years. And The Shining is just one of those films that I had to revisit for this lovely Spooktober. Because I haven't read the book that the Shining is based on, but this is one of the most iconic Stephen King adaptations of all time. And anyone who's been watching my videos for long enough probably knows this. I went to school in Colorado. I've always had family in Denver, even though I grew up here in New Jersey. I've always had family out in Colorado, and my mom would take my sister and I out to Colorado at least annually growing up to visit family and for skiing and stuff like that. And I went to school at CSU, Fort Collins, Colorado. I do plan moving back there sometime further down the road. Yeah, I've never been inside the Stanley Hotel, but I've driven past it quite a few times. Stephen King got the idea for The Shining. He was inspired because he and his wife stayed overnight there one night back in 1974, and he had a nightmare that night, which is what inspired him to write The Shining. Even though the film is actually not filmed in Colorado, even though it takes place in Colorado, the Shining, the Overlook Hotel was... All the scenes at Overlook Hotel where, Shining takes place in were all filmed at the Timberline Lodge in Oregon. That's one misconception that people have about The Shining. And I'm well aware that Stephen King hates this film adaptation of his novel, which is kind of makes me want to read the book even more. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall are the one and only Mr. and Mrs. Torrance. Both their performances in this film were just nailed so excellently. And Danny, is always kind of annoying to me. He was always just blurting "Red Rum" like that over and over again. Yeah, that was kind of frustrating. But then you realize that Red Rum is murder spelled backwards, and this film is just full of so many twists and turns. And even though this film was released back in 1980 and I've watched it before, it's there are still some scenes to this day that really make my skin crawl, and I'm just oh goodness, I feel the goosebumps coming, and the chills and the tension, especially that scene where Jack is in the bathroom, and there's that pretty woman who is naked, and they start kissing, and then he realizes oh, this isn't real, this is just another figment of his deranged imagination or a demon of some kind, and this is the old lady is just laughing at him. I watch this scene, I'm just oh no. Every time I watch it, it just makes me squirm. As well as, the two girls, "Come play with us, Danny." It's and there's dead bodies and blood everywhere, just the disturbing imagery, and just the questions it makes you ask. Just what more really needs to be said about The Shining. Obviously, I must give it an 8 out of 9 stars. It is a spooktacular film. Alright, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another just bite-sized classic movie review. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that thumbs up like button, please, and subscribe to my channel. Alright, you guys have a good night and stay beastly.